3rd down and 8. They have to get to the 4 for a first down. Marino surveys, guns it. Thomas caught it. Touchdown.
And Brent Smith right now is going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Maybe that penalty gave him a little bit more room down here. There's Jimmy saying, "Oh, way to go. We like to throw the ball down here in Miami."
Inside the 10-yard line. Not very often you see teams go to 5 receiver formations and a shotgun set with nobody in there to protect the quarterback.
You know, and that 5 yards might have helped because they ran an inside slant pattern and the safety wasn't able to get over there.
Mate converts. So Andre Reed made the reception, then the fumble, and Miami is able to cash in. The Bills doing themselves in. 4 turnovers in the game, and the Dolphins with 3:42 left up by 10.
Again, outstanding work up front by the Miami offensive line. Nobody anywhere close to Dan Marino. He had a chance to look at everything. Just look at it up front. Buffalo not getting off the line of scrimmage, and there's a laser dart right to Lamar Thomas.
You want to talk about an accurate throw right here. And really, Eric Smedley is right there. He's got to make a play on it or try to knock it down. But what a terrific throw and catch by Lamar Thomas.
Flutie Flakes are brain food. I'm convinced of that right now.
Think so, huh?
Well, what did Jimmy Johnson tell us that he thought was Doug Flutie's best attribute? His decision making. He's not big, he's not the greatest passer, but his decision making is right on.
Well, he's going to have to make sure that he throws the football in the end zone right now. You do not want to throw it where you can get tackled in bounds.
He ran it into the end zone against Jacksonville to win a game earlier this year.
14 years later, Doug Flutie looks for another miracle in Miami. First down at the 5-yard line.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Lost the ball. It's loose.
Trace Armstrong.
It's Miami's.
Trace Armstrong.
Armstrong dislodged it. Shane Burton recovered it, and the Dolphin season continues.
Al, Armstrong dislodged it, Burton recovered it, and Flutie held it too long.
You talked about decision making.
Yeah.
Down here, you need to know that you've got to get rid of the football. You cannot hold on to it. It's the 5th turnover for the Buffalo Bills today, and it was actually pretty good pass blocking. Thurman Thomas is trying to block Trace Armstrong, but you have to get rid of the football. You wonder if the interception down the other end was in the back of Doug Flutie's mind, that he was going to try to force it in there, but Thurman Thomas on Trace Armstrong is not the situation you want to be in if you are the offense of the Buffalo Bills.
Armstrong led the Dolphins with sacks this year with 10.5, and that might be the biggest one of his career.
And a kneel down ends it, and the Miami Dolphins will be taking a trip next weekend. They'll be going to the Meadowlands or to Denver.
Hey folks, it's Dale. I'm here to give you my Week 7 NFL picks. Got to talk about last week though first. Man, what a week. Started off great. Started off wonderful. Started with rolling off about 6 straight correct picks. And that covered most of the early games, but then the bottom fell out. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm sitting at 6-0. Then the Vikings beat the Eagles. All right, I could see that. Chiefs lost the second game in a row. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Cardinals beat the Falcons. Well, the Falcons aren't very dependable. Then the 49ers whipped the Rams. Okay. And by the time we got to the Cowboys-Jets, and the Jets whipped the Cowboys, what is going on? And then the Chargers failed to show up against the Steelers. So from Saturday or from Sunday afternoon when I'm 6-0, to Sunday night I'm 6-7. Looking at a potential. If I lose the Monday night game, then I'd be 6-8 for the week. That's just atrocious. And then we get to the Monday night game, and it's man, what a travesty Monday night was. So the Lions and the Packers both show up. Lions are all over the Packers. Packers bounce back. You got Stafford versus Rodgers, and they were giving us a classic divisional rivalry matchup, and they're throwing dimes all over the place. And that's what we should have been talking about after that game, was what an awesome game. Two teams really going tooth and nail, but instead we're talking about some boneheaded officiating. It kept me at 500, 7-7, because I had picked the Packers, but so I'm ready to forget week 6. So finished week 6, my record's 7-7. Just an abysmal 7-7, and bringing my total for the year to 55, 37-1, which is really not very good, especially considering I don't really look at points like Vegas does, which would probably be more difficult. So, okay. So let's get started on week 7. Again, this is Sunday night. Life happens. Well, early Sunday morning. It's like 5 a.m. And I'm just getting to this because sometimes life happens, and I don't do this for a living. So, but here we go. We're going to talk about these picks for week 7. Again, the video's going up after Thursday, and that's interesting too, because all right, so Thursday is my late night to work. I got off, was headed home, and I posted my pick as I'm headed home. Haven't seen a ball game yet, and I picked the Chiefs. My post said almost ready to sit down and watch the Chiefs take out their frustrations on the Broncos. If the Chiefs get a lead on the Broncos and Flacco has to air the ball out, this game could get real ugly. The Broncos D better bring their A game. So the Chiefs won. Kind of paid the price. It's interesting. When I turned on my TV, about the first thing I saw was Mahomes laying on his center, not able to get up, and it was an overhead shot. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? It just looked really weird. But yeah, so man, right now with my Dolphins tanking, I've got a vested interest in the Chiefs being good because I want them to stick it to the Patriots. And somebody's got to step up and deny the evil empire another championship. Yeah, so watching Mahomes come off like that was scary, and hope the kid's all right. I'm hearing that the dislocated knee is going to keep him out for 3 weeks. I looked at the schedule. All right, so they've got the Dolphins' former backup, Matt Moore. And if Matt Moore can regain the form he had a couple years ago, Tannehill got hurt quite often when he was with us. And Matt Moore actually was quarterbacking us into the playoffs a couple of years ago when we faced Steelers. So Matt Moore can win some games. The question is, how quickly can they acclimate Matt Moore to not only to their scheme, but also kind of adjust the play calling to what he's able to do? Because I watched Brian Baldinger on YouTube the other day kind of break down Matt Moore, and he was pretty spot on. Matt is a smart guy, tough guy. It doesn't have the physical abilities of a Mahomes. He doesn't have the arm strength. He just is not that physically gifted. So they're going to have to tailor the offense to him. The schedule is a little tough. They got the Packers and Vikings at home before they go to the Titans. And I think if they're going to be realistic, you play every game to win. Unless you're the Dolphins. And that's kind of a sore spot. Anyway, you play every game to win. But I don't think they need to panic if they lose to the Packers, because the Packers are good. The Packers are very capable of coming in and handing the Chiefs a loss, especially if the Chiefs don't have quite the offensive firepower that they normally do. But don't panic, because I think the Vikings and the Titans are very beatable. They're good. The Vikings have The Vikings have a great defense. They have a good running game, but their quarterbacking is questionable. The Titans are lost at quarterback. So those games, I think, are very winnable for Matt Moore. The Packers, when it comes down to picking that game next week, I'm probably going to be picking the Packers, because I just... I think a week to get acclimated to Matt Moore may be asking a bit much. By the time the Vikings get into town, hopefully they can be ready. But anyway, Chiefs beat the Broncos, so I'm 1-0. Let's move on to tomorrow's games. Raiders at Packers. Pack. I'm picking the Packers. The Raiders are much better, but the Packers are too, and they're playing at home, and I'm not picking against the Packers tomorrow, that's for sure. Rams at Falcons. So the Rams 49ers game last week made a couple things a little more clear in my mind, and that's the Rams aren't as good as they were last year. And the 49ers are much better than I thought they were. Having said all that, I'm picking the Rams because they're playing the Falcons. And the Falcons are not dependable at all. They've got good offense. I sometimes wonder how good Matt Ryan could be if he was on a decent team. But I think the Rams find a way to win that game. I just can't. I can't bring myself to pick the Falcons against a quality team. They can't even beat the average teams. 49ers at Redskins. Yeah, 49ers. They clearly handled the Rams. The Redskins squeaked by the Dolphins. Going with the 49ers. Texans at Colts. This was a really tough game, and probably the last game I was still kind of trying to look at things to see which way I felt. And I still feel like this game could go either way. You're talking about the Colts at home. They've got a really good coach in Frank Reich. They're playing a Texans team that looks a lot like them. Quarterback play is probably a little bit better on the Texans. Colts, I'd have to give them the edge in running. But their weaknesses, they really look a lot like each other. So which way do you go? I'm going to take the Texans just because I think Deshaun Watson is having a much better year. So I'm picking the Texans. It's not a slam dunk by any means. This would be the one game I would stay away from if I was betting money. Yeah. So let's move on. Vikings at Lions. Lions may be looking to take out some frustrations. I'm not convinced that the Vikings know what they're doing on offense. You know, I just don't have a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins. I'm picking the Lions. Jaguars at Bengals. Oh, the Bengals haven't shown much. I thought they were going to be a little better than they gave the 49ers a good game, but since then they haven't really done a whole lot. I'm picking the Jaguars and Gardner Minshew to bounce back this week. Cardinals at Giants. Cardinals. And it's not a slam dunk either. They're playing in New York, which I think gives, you got to give the Giants an edge there. You got two young quarterbacks, Murray and Daniel Jones. I'm blanking on the kid from New York's name. Anyway, both young upcoming quarterbacks. Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals, and that may be more of a guess than anything. Dolphins at Bills, absolutely Bills. I would love to, and that hurts my heart. One of the, I became a Dolphins fan in the mid-'70s. That was a time when we just owned the Bills. I mean, the NFL record for one team beating another team consecutively is held by the Dolphins over the Bills. We beat them 20 straight times. The Bills were 0 for the 1970s against the Miami Dolphins. So, and then we had the great rivalry of the 90s when the Bills were good, and so were we. And we played them. There was tooth and nail division rivalry, and we even played in a championship game against each other. And the Bills had a great team. And then, of course, late 90s, we had the game where Trace Armstrong went off and sacked Doug Flutie late in the game. And I think we danced on some Flutie flakes and made the Bills upset. I don't know. It's been a good rivalry, not lately though, and it's not going to be a good game tomorrow, I don't think. As much as I would like the Dolphins to turn up and show some grit, and they may. The Bills offense is still a work in progress, in my opinion. The Bills defense is that defense a couple weeks ago just rose up and punched Tom Brady right in the mouth. Held him under 200 yards passing. So if they can do that to Brady, and it was impressive, I'd encourage you, go on YouTube, look up Bills Patriots highlights from a couple weeks ago and watch that defense just raise up, and they gave the Patriots everything they could handle. And it would not surprise me if the next time they meet, the Bills get the victory. But yeah, so tomorrow I'm thinking Bills. Hope it's somewhat close, but it could get ugly. The way I expect it to kind of go is maybe close early on when our defense is fresh. But then I think what happens is the offense can't generate much. The defense will wear out, and then that's when they'll start scoring all their points. Anyway, all right, so now we got the Chargers at Titans. And I actually don't have this one marked. I missed that one. I am going to go with the Chargers. But that's not an emphatic Chargers. That's more like, yeah, Chargers. Because Philip Rivers is still Philip Rivers, but he's got to get some help. On the other side of the ball, though, we've watched the Titans. Mariota has struggled, and Tannehill put in, and if they're going to start Tannehill now, I still think it's going to take a couple weeks before Tannehill can knock the rust off and be productive. Tannehill is a decent player when he's healthy, and might be a better option than Mariota, but I don't see it happening that quick. Ravens at Seahawks. Ravens have been really good. Lamar Jackson. I heard an announcer compare Jackson and Vic, and I cringed because I think Lamar Jackson is showing us that he is more than Vic. He can actually sit in the pocket and throw the ball. He can actually throw multiple styles of passes. Not everything just flies off of his hand with no regard for touch. He is, to me, he is a much better passer than Vic. So I don't think that that's fair. I think if you're asking me, Lamar Jackson's superior to Michael Vick in that way, because your quarterback, his job is to throw the ball. So while I like everything that the Ravens are doing, I do think the Seahawks are tough. They're a good team, and that's liable to be a very good game, but I'm taking the Seahawks. Saints at Bears. I'm picking the Saints. Got to watch out. The Bears have a tough defense, but again, quarterback issues. I know a Bears fan that calls their quarterback Mitch Trubisky or something like that. It's just, yeah, it's not good. I don't think Trubisky is the answer. The Saints are, they're tough. They're a good team all the way around, and they have done an excellent job of getting their offense to rally around Teddy Bridgewater and making that offense work for his style of play, which is considerably different than it would be under Breeze. So Saints over the Bears. Eagles at Cowboys. Okay. I'm picking the Eagles. Cowboys are struggling mightily. Yeah. It's not looking good in Dallas. Could they bounce back? Sure. And the Eagles have definitely had their issues, but I like the Eagles better than I do the Cowboys. And then finally, the Patriots at Jets on Monday night. I don't think the Jets can put together. If you're thinking that the same Jets team that whooped the Cowboys are going to show up on Monday night. I think you're going to be disappointed. Will the Patriots just whip the Jets? I don't know about that either. I don't think the Patriots are the dominant team that they used to be, but they are good. They are good. And, yeah, so I have to pick the Patriots over the Jets, and that's a fairly confident pick. Wouldn't mind seeing the Jets show up and show out against the Patriots and hand them a loss, but I don't see it happening. Just being honest. So those are my picks for this week. Hope everyone's doing well. Come on back. We'll keep a light on for you. And have a good week.